For all of you reviewers out there, do yourself a favor. Make yourself up a non-negotiable contract. Hey everybody, time to do a video about some of these companies that want review channels to do reviews of their products, but they're a little bit shady about it. So I want to talk about a company. I'm going to talk about a couple of companies, but the first one I want to talk about is SJ Cam. Now, if you followed my main channel at all, you know that over the years, especially all those early years, I was a big fan of SJ Cam because they offered a lot for what the money was, for what they cost. So to me, it's a money to performance ratio, and they offered a lot. It wasn't as good as a GoPro. The audio wasn't as good as a GoPro. The stabilization wasn't as good as a GoPro. But it was also only 20% of the cost of a GoPro. So let's fast forward to the last SJ Cam review video that I did, which was on the SJ400. It's their little pocket style camera. And I'll put a link to that original review video up here so that you guys can check it out. But you know, there was just so many problems with that camera. And this is 2026. So early on, when you're talking like 2016, 2017, 2018, having interpolated 4K was accepted. A company would say, okay, camera's 4K, but it was really 1080p that was just upscaled. Well, here it is, 2026, and SJ Cam is still doing that. And it's really weird because they started making actual native 4K cameras. I believe the first one was the SJ7 Star. And as they continued on, it just got better and better image quality. Audio quality was kind of hit and miss between models. But this SJ400 was just garbage. I'm really sorry. I mean, if you look at the 1080p at 120 frames per second, it is every bit of 720 or lower. It was horrible video quality. Now, when SJ Cam sends me out products, or a lot of companies, when they send me out products, they know me. They don't give me any stipulations of, this is what I have to say, I've got to do this, I've got to up-talk the product, and I've got to show them the video before it's released. I didn't have any of that with SJ Cam. And I call out whatever a product has a fault with. And you know, keeping in mind that no product is perfect. I get that. And if the pros outweigh the cons, then by all means, that is a good buy product for me. And I don't mean goodbye like hasta la vista, I mean a good purchase product, because you're getting more pros than there are cons. So I do this video about the SJ400, and there was a lot of cons. Then I get this email from SJ Cam, one of the representatives, that said, hey, a lot of the big wigs at SJ Cam, they saw your review video. They are very unhappy. Okay, well, sorry. But then they also go on to say they would like for you to put this little disclaimer into the description area about this product, which I'm not going to do. Fuck them. If you're claiming 4K, let it be 4K. Now, I know the SJ Cam is coming up with this new SJ30, and it's supposed to be 8K at 24 frames per second. At 24 frames per second is fine. I don't have an issue with that because there's a lot of people that record their videos and 24 frames per second for that cinematic look. And if you remember back with the Insta360 Ace Pro 1, it was recording 8K at 24 frames per second. I had no issue with it, and I think the 8K looked great on it, and it was a true native 8K. This new SJ30 is supposed to have 8K, 24 frames per second, 4K 120. It has dual lenses. One of them is specifically designed for super night video. Don't quote me on that because I don't know if that's what they call it, but it's supposed to be for superior low light. And they ripped off what Insta360 did with the Ace Pro 1 and 2 with the back screen that flips up. So I don't know if they just purchased the rights to be able to use that flip up screen design. Don't know, don't care. So I responded to them saying that, no, I am not going to put that little piece of verbiage in because, you know, you said that it was 4K and it's not. You can say that you're trying to improve the image quality of the SJ series cameras. Well, if you're going to claim 4K, make sure that it's 4K. And the second part of my little rant is I want to talk about some of these companies that, for all of you reviewers out there, do yourself a favor. Make yourself up a non-negotiable contract. And I understand that there's a lot of new channels out there that really want to try to build a relationship and get a company to send them a product for free. And don't get me wrong. If, you know, I can understand that you would want to keep the relationship on good terms, so you're not going to really focus on too many of the cons. And, you know, that's up to you and your core character and your morality and how honest that you want to be with your viewers. Because if you're reviewing a product, you're reviewing it to be able to tell your audience if something is, now granted, my channel is called Worth It or Not, but if an item is worth purchasing or not. And a lot of people out there, they look to reviews to see, are you going to be honest about it? Because they're trying to make a judgment call. They want to see some comparisons. They want to see the video quality, and they want to hear your experience and see your experience of testing a product and how did it go and what are your thoughts on it. And not saying that they watch one review and they say, absolutely, I'm just going to buy that. They may have watched 10 reviews. And if you've got all these new review channels that are all trying to get in on the good side of these companies, and they're all saying great things, and then that consumer, that viewer goes out and buys the product and it turns out to be total garbage, what do you think that viewer's going to do? The viewer's not going to trust you anymore. The viewer's going to say, you lied to them. You said that it was a really great product and it's garbage. It's like a 1990s camcorder. And that's not the way to go. So do yourself a favor. Come up with a non-negotiable contract, because what a lot of these companies are starting to do, and I'll just give you a little FYI warning. What they're doing is they send you an email. They love your stuff. They've been watching you for a long time and love your stuff. And would you like to review this video? Or review this product, excuse me. And sometimes they'll ask what your rate is. And speaking of rate, never tell a company what your rate is. Ask them what their budget is. Because for a new YouTube channel that's getting into product reviews, you may be happy with $200. And if you tell them $200 and they go, oh yeah, okay, well, maybe we can do $150, but their real budget was $800 or $1,000. So you see what happens? There's a lot of negotiating that goes on back and forth. And I will say this, if you're gonna review a product and you're gonna get paid for that product, you need to make that a blanketly clear statement to your viewers that you were paid to do this review, because most paid reviews are like a commercial. I consider it a sponsored video, and it's like a commercial. And no company is going to pay you to do a product review and you bash the product. Not going to happen. So make up a contract and put in there what your non-negotiables are. For me, it's I get to do a fair review on the product, and I get to talk about the pros and cons. If there's something drastically wrong with the product, I will reach out to you to see if there's a firmware fix, because sometimes there's little firmware bugs and the company didn't know about it, and you can get that resolved, and then they fix it and everything's good to go, and you can continue on with your review video without having to bring up that one little problem. Sometimes that happens, sometimes it doesn't, where they want to fix the problem. But put that in your contract. And then also say that you don't get to see my video before it's released, unless it's a high paid sponsorship deal. If you're cutting a couple $1,000s, yeah, you are making an ad. Make sure it looks like an ad. Make sure that you're highlighting the product, because it's basically a commercial. And that company has a right to look at the video and give you feedback, because it's like if I'm doing a real estate video for a realtor, I get a lot of feedback. They'll tell me what they like and what they don't like, and sometimes I have to explain why the lighting was the way that it was for them to understand. Sometimes I can know better, but at the end of the day, they're a paying client, so if they want me to shoot something and they want it super moody dark, or they don't want ceiling fans on, or they do want ceiling fans on in the video clip, I've got to do what they say, because I am a paid performer. I am a paid videographer for that real estate shoot. Same goes with sponsored videos for product reviews. If you're being paid, disclose it. If you are being paid, you can say, and I'll use like DJI for example, because I'm using a DJI Nano right now. So let's say it's, I say that, okay, this video is sponsored by DJI. They did pay me for this video, but they didn't tell me what to say, and they don't get to see this video before it's released. That way you're letting your viewers know exactly what your situation is and what they're to expect. And speaking of disclaimers, one thing that I am getting really, really tired of is seeing people get a product for free and not disclosing that it's a sponsored video. And you may go, well, hang on, I didn't get paid for this. Yeah, you did. Because if you got the DJI Nano, and let's say Nano right there. If you got the DJI Nano and you got it for free, and it is a, I don't know, $299 product, you just got $300 payment for that review, because you get to keep the product. Unless you're sending it back. Sigma is real big about, yeah, they'll send you a product, a Sigma lens to review, but you've got to send it back to them. And then you need to disclose that. But there's so many channels right now that they don't disclose that they got the product for free. And there's two ways that you can do it. You can either say it, saying DJI sent me this DJI Nano for review and testing purposes, but they didn't pay me for this video, they didn't tell me what to say, and they don't get to see this video before it's released. Okay, so now you've made it clear that it's still a sponsored video because you got the product for free. Or you can sit there, I try to do it twofold, because when you're uploading the video, there's a little spot that says for sponsored. And with the Federal Trade Commission, They're really starting to come down on these YouTubers that are not disclosing a sponsored video. And that even includes if you get a product for free. Because you may sit there and say, well, they just sent me the product in exchange for this video. It's not really sponsored because they didn't pay me. No, you gained monetarily off of that product. So you got a product for free that's worth money. Whether it's only worth $20 or it's worth $2,000, you've got to disclose that because you are now being reimbursed somehow, some way, given something of value. And if you're given something of value, the Federal Trade Commission says that you must disclose that. And if you look at the upload and the total description of what it says when it says for you to click on this sponsored video, and it doesn't just say, oh, it's a sponsored video because I got paid. No, it means you got something of monetary value. So for these newer YouTube channels out there that are doing product reviews, do yourself a favor, because you don't want to get on the FTC's naughty list, because you could be looking at some substantial fines. You could have some problems with your YouTube channel. So just, disclose it. If I get something, I always tell them, I mean, yes, I got this product, or I'll even say this video is sponsored by DJI. By the way, DJI has never given me nothing, zero, zilch, nada, out of all the DJI products. And I'm not complaining because, it is what it is. DJI, maybe they just don't like brutal honesty. They don't want someone to really nitpick. They want more flashy, positive videos rather than a positive video, but also with a caveat of some issues. Be prepared. I mean, set your boundaries early. Set up a contract early, because these companies, they will send you a contract. And don't be surprised, because I've seen a couple of emails come through where these companies are like, hey, we'll pay you $400, and in exchange, this is the script. These are all the things that we want you to cover, and we want copyright privileges to all that material in perpetuity. What? For $400, you want me to give you lifetime rights to my video product for $400 on a $150 item? Go blow yourself. It's not going to happen. So those kind of things I just ignore. But they're the ones that booger up stuff. And by the way, if they offer you $800, they've just charged the company, whether it's DJI or whoever. Let's say if they offer you $800, they told the company that it was $1,200. So now they're pocketing $400. See what I mean? So with having that middleman, it doesn't make the company look as bad because it is a middleman marketing agency. So I just wanted to do this video. I'm up here at the school to pick up my daughter, but I want to just say this, just beware of these companies. Be honest to your viewers, protect yourself, and keep your integrity and your reputation close to heart, because at the end of the day, that's all that you have is your reputation. And when he first started out, he had, but anyway, I hope that this video helped you out. And tell me down in the comment section, have you had any dealings with some of these funky companies? And if you've got a horror story to talk about, because, it definitely helps out the community. All right, until the next video, catch you later. Bye.